So this is what my life has come to. Weirdo. Come on. I gotta walk this way because there's a creeper here. There's this man who, I don't think he lives here. I think he has tenants here. I think that's what he said. I don't know. But I met him the first day I came here. And I'm normally like, I don't talk to strangers. I do not talk to strangers. But I told myself, Akiba, like, stop. Yeah, I said, everyone's not a bad person. Don't be like that. Which I don't know why I don't just listen to my instinct, because my instinct is always right. It's not good when I try to listen to other people. And lo and behold, he was like nice, civil, acted like a normal person. Until, okay, good. His car is gone. He was staying there watching me film my video. Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, I happened to be getting back really late from my friend's house. He was there and his eyes were all bloodshot red. So this is what my life has come to now. I started off training Teddy as a service dog. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped. And so now, let's see how he's doing. Teddy, why are you in front of me? Get back. Let me sit down. I'm tired. Okay. Yeah, so come on, Teddy, up. Like I was saying, this is what my life has come to now. I think it's like 1 or 2. And I'm up. I just don't understand how I have not gotten control over this already. So annoying. So a couple years ago, like a few, I say a couple, but now it's been a few, because the pandemic was, wait, was that 5 years ago? So this was like maybe 7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago, I was having symptoms. What were my symptoms? 1, brain fog. The main thing is brain fog, where I just can't think of what I'm trying to say. I've mentioned it before here, but I don't think I've ever totally talking about the specific diagnosis. So, you see, this is it. Seriously, I have words to say and I can't take them out of my mouth. Okay, I have to just say certain words that relate. Kids, things. Okay, kids, things. Kids, stuff, words. Okay, so I was having a lot of memory problems. I'm not crying. This is nothing to cry over. So I was having a lot of memory problems. And like, for example, how I'm talking now, it's very annoying. So just not being quick, as quick as when I was younger. But also like I would forget the names of things. So like, this is Teddy's leash. I would say, Apiwe, go get me. And then I could not get the word out of my mouth. And it was progressing so much. I was so scared. I was like, is this early onset dementia? Like, what is this? It was progressing so much that Apiwe would, I'm actually was a babyish, so Apiwe would start filling in words for me. So I would say, hey, for dinner, let's drink. And then I could not think orange juice. Like, I can see it in my head, but I couldn't bring out the word. So I said, let me go to the doctor, because this is really scaring me. And I'm so glad to have a Black doctor who was like listening and just considered everything. I think I did get an MRI and it just was not, it didn't show anything. But she asked me on a follow-up visit, she was very thorough, and she said, randomly, she said, how much sleep do you get? And I said, I get 8 hours of sleep. Like, I make sure I get my sleep in. And thank God she asked me this question. She said, what is your sleep pattern? I was like, what do you mean? I get 8 hours of sleep. What are you talking about? Oh, because I was telling her that I was extremely exhausted also. And I didn't know if it was like the weight of this. And you know how they're always quick to be like, it's depression, it's anxiety, da da da. That is something that she brought up. And she said, well, are you like tired and this? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I am tired. I am this and that. So maybe it's depression, which made me really sad. But I couldn't shake the feeling that like, I don't know. I just feel like that's not a good enough answer. So anyway, I told her my sleep pattern. And so at the time I was working as a teacher, right? Solo mom. And I was also sewing clothes in order to get by. And so what I would do is I would work all day, take a PUA and a MASE to daycare. I haven't recovered fully. So that's also why it's been hard for me to make videos, because it's just exhausting. With this memory thing. Okay, so I would take the girls to nursery school and daycare. I would take the girls to daycare, and then I'd pick them up at like 6, because I was working as a teacher. It was hard in DC, and I would stay there like until kind of late most of the time because I had work to do, just work. And then I would come home and like feed them, and I would be falling asleep on the way home. That is actually one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I gotta stop teaching. I gotta figure this out, because I would be falling asleep on the highway. And I remember I would jolt up like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna kill these kids in here. I gotta figure something out. Anyway, I didn't figure something out at the time, but I would just sleep instead of going straight home. So I would pick them up, then I would sleep in the parking lot for like an hour, and then I would be able to drive. Like literally the drive from their daycare to our home was 15 minutes, and I couldn't stay awake. So I would go from school in DC to where they were in Upper Marlboro, go to sleep for an hour, muster up the energy to go home 15 minutes, like bathe them, put them to sleep, feed them, and then I would start my second job, which was sewing clothes, my Etsy shop. I would have to, in order to get a PUA to go to sleep, I would have to lay down and sleep with her. And that is how I got a PUA and a MASE eventually to go to sleep. Okay. Sleeping with them. So I would fall asleep again for 2 hours. So I was considering that as like, whoa, I've had 3 hours of sleep now. So I'll wake up at maybe like 9 or 10 and sew until 2 or 3 in the morning, go back to sleep for another 3.5 hours, and then rush out and do the same thing every day. So I was getting in like 6 to 8 hours of sleep a day, but it was intermittent. And the doctor said, that is not sleep. You have sleep deprivation. Okay, you've been deprived of sleep, and now you've done it for years, and your mind cannot function like that. Sleep deprivation is a type of torture. That is why they use it on prisoners of war, and that is why your brain function is zippity-doo-dah. But I told her, like, but I can't sleep. Like, I can't sleep. So the two diagnoses together were like sleep deprivation and insomnia. And ever since I have known that, so what did she do? She prescribed sleep. And I was so relieved that I trusted her. And I said, okay. She said, I want you to get 8 hours of sleep for the next 2 weeks and tell me what happens. You guys, when I tell you, within that time period, my brain function came back. I was so happy it came back. But now, here I am a few years later and just trying to do everything, trying to keep up with everything. I gotta buy a house, I gotta homeschool the kids, I gotta make money, the business has to be successful, like trying to be a good friend, trying to keep the house clean. Like all of that stuff, and I don't sleep. And I've noticed over the past year, I think it's gotten worse. And like it had, when the doctor first said to get sleep, I got sleep. And I would make sure I got sleep. And so like my cognitive function was fine. Over the past couple of years, I've been getting less sleep, and I can see it coming back. Like, I don't know if you can tell on this video, but I keep having to search for the words so hard, and it's so frustrating. It's not at the point where I'm looking at an object and I can't say it, because that's where I was at. Like, I would be looking at Teddy and I could not think of the word dog, but it is at the point where I'm searching like for alternative words. So like when I was telling you about the daycare, I kept thinking in my mind, school for little kids, and I could not think of the word daycare. So you don't want it to take like 2 or 3 seconds to come up with a word. And I realized though, there is some light, because I realized what the problem is, and I'm like, why can't I fall asleep? So I've realized over the past couple of weeks that my body, okay, first of all, I watched a video by Dr. Berg, which I strongly suggest. I watched it about 1.5 years ago, and I went through it and my sleep was good, but then my choices and trying to, force success and trying to do everything, women trying to do it all, led me back down the road of not sleeping recently. What was I talking about? Success. What I have done. Let me rewind the video. Oh, okay, right. Dr. Berg video. So the Dr. Berg video talks about I'm going to mispronounce it, but that rhythm, the rhythm of sleep, right? And that there are waves, and that if you miss your first wave to sleep, you won't be able to really fall asleep until that next wave comes, right? And so I thought that was very interesting, and I took that into consideration 1.5 years ago. But now, just recently, I realized, wait a minute, the reason I can't fall asleep is because my first wave of sleepiness comes at 7 p.m. 7 p.m., guys. And so for about the past month, 2 months, I've been trying to follow that and go to bed at 7. And when I go to bed at 7, I tell you, I wake up at 4 a.m, ready to go the whole day. Like, I feel fine. I feel good. Cognitive function is great. And if I don't go to bed at 7, or by the latest 7:30, I cannot fall asleep until 2 a.m. Isn't that crazy? And then, of course, we can't survive sleeping at 2 a.m. because I got to get up in the morning. Come on, Teddy. But that's where I am right now. And so that is why I'm up right now, walking Teddy around at 1 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the next wave of sleep to come. And so my problem now is I'm going to have to find a way to consistently get to bed at 7 or 7:30. And you guys, it's nothing outside that is keeping me from that. It's just myself. Like, when I feel sleepy, I know, get in the bed and go to sleep, because your cognitive function is going to be shot tomorrow if you don't. Stop trying to stay up late and do work. It doesn't work for you. So it's all a matter of me. And I think it has to do a lot with stress, because what happens is I get tired at 7. I know I'm sleepy, and I'm like, oh, but if I do an hour worth of housework tonight, I'll feel better tomorrow, right? But that doesn't happen, because then I do an hour worth of housework, and then it's 8, and then I can't fall asleep, and then I feel horrible the next day. Teddy. All right, so I guess you're gonna, Teddy, what? Teddy in the world? You're being a very bad, not good service dog. What is going on over there? And also, after 7, there's nothing that can put me asleep. Of course, there are sleeping medications. They knock you out. I've had them for insomnia before. They knock you out. You wake up in the morning. I don't feel like I've slept at all. Try NyQuil. It does the same thing. If I take NyQuil, then at night, like I'm in this like state of semi-consciousness. So I don't do that. So there's nothing. Maybe some hot tea. I don't know. I just want to be able to sleep naturally. Come on, Teddy. And the way to do that is to go to sleep at 7 for me. Come on.